So for next year, we're going to start with the story of Kisah Gotami. And then after that, there'll be two sessions on the Mahanidana Sutta. This second sutta is a difficult one, but it is something very interesting. So we will be studying the sutta for January, February onwards.
Okay, we will start with the opening puja. Over to you, Brother Piya.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccachara viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapama dattana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now we will do a short session of loving kindness meditation. That's also our last sitting. To thank everyone who has helped us, and especially Sikani, and all of you who have come for this study with the Buddha's suttas. We begin by sending loving kindness to ourselves, that we be blessed with good health, happiness, peace of mind, so that we can continue to listen to the Buddha's teaching and build up our peace of mind and wisdom to progress nearer to the path of awakening in this life itself. May I be well. May I be well. Say those words. Feel the wellness in your body and mind. Then smile. May I be happy. May I be happy. Say the words a couple of times and then silence, smile. Feel happy in your body and mind. May I be at peace with myself. May I be at peace with myself. I accept myself just as I am. I accept myself just as I am. You only need to say 2 or 3 sentences, or 1 or 2 also can. You can also use your own sentences according to your needs, such as, may I be free from anger. May I be free from anger. May I be free from fear. May I be free from fear. Feel the joy, feel the peace within you. Smile at it. You can also visualize some happy moments in your life, or a very happy place that you like a beautiful garden, or some very happy event. To get the happy feeling. And once you get the happy feeling, then let go of those visions. Feel that joy, feel the peace throughout your body and mind. Now picture the kindest person in your life, your best friend, someone still living, still alive, a relative, a friend, or a teacher. Picture this person happy, smiling, sitting in front of you or sitting beside you. If you can't picture this person, use the name, mention the name to connect with this person and smile. Tell this person, may you be well. And then send the thoughts, send the feelings to this person with a smile. May you be happy. May you be happy. May you be at peace with yourself. May you be at peace with yourself. I accept you just as you are. I accept you just as you are. Now, share this beautiful white lotus in the center of your heart. And this white lotus represents your loving kindness. It is opening up and blossoming and shining, radiant like the sun itself, brighter than the sun, shining with this bright light of your loving kindness, brightening up your body and mind, and it's shining outwards, brightening everything around you. brightening up your whole room and shining your loving kindness onto this wonderful friend, this wonderful person. At this point, you can gently spread the bright light of your loving kindness throughout your house, wherever you are. Shine your loving kindness on the people in that house, that building. If you know them personally, then picture them, tell them your loving kindness. May everyone in this house, in this place, be well and happy. May everyone be friendly. May they be at peace with one another. Slowly extend your loving kindness over a bigger parameter to the neighbors, people around. And you can go on doing this. Spread out your loving kindness until you cover the whole town. And then the whole city. Picture like you are watching everyone from above and sending out your loving kindness like the bright, beautiful sun. Sending to everyone, especially those you know. And it goes on like that, spreading until you cover the whole country. So do this on your own. You may take some time, and this is something, it's up to you how far you want to go. As we spread our loving kindness, we have before us on this Zoom class many people from all over the world. So now I especially send my loving kindness to each of you, to you in particular, wishing you well and happy. May you be well. May you be happy. I will always remember you as a good Dhamma friend. May you feel at peace wherever you go. May you grow in the wisdom of the Buddha's teaching so that you feel great joy. And wherever you go, bring the joy to others. Be joyful. Send your loving kindness to everyone else in this wonderful network of people with loving kindness. Now send your loving kindness to your family or loved ones, people who are special and important to you. Even your pets, the animals that you care for. And now we come to the most important part, the most important stage, breaking the barriers. We send out our loving kindness boundlessly, without any limits, everywhere. Beginning with the front directions. May all the beings in the front directions be well and happy. Shine the bright light of your loving kindness frontwards, right to the end of the universe. And now shine your bright light of loving kindness in the right hand quarter. May all the beings in the right hand quarter be well and happy. Brighten up the whole quarter on the right. May all the beings in the back quarter be well and happy. Brighten up the whole quarter right to the end of the universe with your loving kindness. May all the beings in the quarter on the left be well and happy. Brighten up the whole quarter on the left with your loving kindness. May all the beings in the quarter below be well and happy. Brighten up the lower quarter with your radiance of loving kindness. May all the beings in the quarter above be well and happy. Remember to smile as you send out your loving kindness. May all the beings everywhere be well and happy. May I be well and happy. And now bring back all the bright light of loving kindness back into your heart where it comes from, back into the lotus flower, still radiant and bright. The petals are closing. This is to remind us that this bright light of loving kindness is always there in our heart. So whenever you are in difficulty or whenever you're going to meditate, just remember this beautiful light of loving kindness. Now we review our practice. Remember this wonderful sitting, this peaceful moment, this joy. This will help you in your future sittings. So whenever you need inner peace. Also, if you have any difficulties, just note them so that you know how to overcome them in the future if necessary. Review your practice. And now we will slowly end our sitting by first opening our eyes, just sitting quietly to let the peace settle in. We begin our meditation slowly, gently. We end it also slowly, gently. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Continue with our sutta study. Right, so today, this is our last session after 2 years. I'm very happy and thankful to be able to teach you all these wonderful suttas. This shows that we can still remember the Buddha's teaching and it's still available to us. And it's not easy to study the suttas. It's even more difficult to teach it. Right, so the SKE, the SKE has put together a wonderful team of people to give us this opportunity to study and practice, to learn and to understand the Buddha's teaching. And this teaching are special because they are the oldest texts that we have with us. And this particular sutta, the Kesaputtiya Sutta, shows us this interesting way, this self-reliance that the Buddha encourages us to question everything so that we get the real thing, we're able to investigate, practice, and then free ourselves from views, to clear our mind, to be happy by being free from suffering. So that's the general idea. So we have looked at this sutta where these Kalamas, they were having great difficulty because they have all kinds of teachers, even like today, telling them all kinds of things, which confused them. Then the Buddha taught them the 10 points to show what are the standards for knowing, for knowledge, for spiritual truth, and the purpose of it, right? Remember 4 times the Buddha repeated the 10 points for different reasons. The most important one is for our own practice, finally, okay? And then the Buddha talked about what are called the 4 divine abodes, loving kindness. So the Buddha is teaching these people, they are not Buddhists yet, they are becoming Buddhists, teaching them loving kindness, how to connect with others, how to be positive with others. And doing Buddhist work, we connect with people, so we're very positive because we meet all kinds of emotions which are negative. So it's a very great challenge to teach the Dhamma. So that is where we were the last time, the 4 divine abodes. Now the sutta closes where the Buddha gives what are called the 4 self-reassurances. This is the part I like the most actually in this sutta, because here the Buddha teaches us what if we don't know what to believe? Okay, what do we do? What are the things which are sure to work, whether you believe in Buddhism or not, whether you believe in karma or not, and so on. Like, I mean, we're not sure all these things, right? We're not enlightened ourselves. So how do we go along? Now, let's look at this. The 4 self-assurances, 15.2. Kalama says the Buddha, this noble disciple, his mind without enmity thus, his mind without ill will thus, his mind uncorrupted thus, his mind purified thus, wins these 4 self-assurances right here in this life itself. So here, in other words, if you keep your mind clear, calm, clear, joyful, you will naturally choose one of 4, or even all these 4 ways of thinking, of accepting the truth. The first one, the first self-assurance, notice it is self-assurance, meaning you assure yourself, you know for yourself. If there is an afterlife or another world, and if good and bad karmic deeds bear fruit and result, it is possible then that when the body breaks up after death, I shall reappear in a state of joy, a happy destination in heaven. This is the first self-assurance he has won. All right. So in other words, suppose there is rebirth and there is karma, to simplify it. So I will, if I do good, I will be reborn in that happy place, right? So here, basically, the Buddha is saying why we should keep our mind clear, happy, joyful, and our actions good and pure, right? So if karma and rebirth are true, and people are reborn according to their karmic deeds, we have no problem because we have done good deeds. So there's a first assurance for us, very clear, all right? Number 2, second self-assurance. If there is no afterlife, suppose there's no future life, okay? In other words, rebirth does not work. There's no rebirth, suppose. If there's no afterlife, and if good and karmic deeds do not bear fruit and results, then still right here in this life, free from enmity, from ill will, I live happily, right? So very simply, if karma and rebirth are not true, does not exist, does not work, still it doesn't matter, because if I've done good, I think good, I'm okay right now. It's no problem. So both ways, I'm okay, right? So there you are. So logical and simple. You don't see this kind of teaching anywhere else in any other religion, in fact. And notice this is even more beautiful than all those 10 points. Eh? And often people miss this one. In fact, this is the most important part of the sutta, the last part. Then the third one. Suppose bad does come to the bad doer, right? The bad actions will come back somehow. But how can I, who intends no bad towards anyone, who has done no bad, be touched by suffering, right? So I've done no bad, so I don't have to worry about anything. So this is the third self-assurance. Now the fourth one. Suppose bad does not come to the bad doer. In other words, No such thing. Okay, you do good, you do bad, it doesn't really matter. No, we will see sometimes bad people prospering and so on. Suppose bad does not come to the bad doer, so the even bad people will prosper. Then right here in this life, I see myself purified both ways, right? So in other words, even here, by practicing good myself, I'm assured. So these are the 4 self-assurances. So do reflect on this. Read again all this and then read the notes. You find this is very helpful to tell us why these 4 self-assurances are very useful to us. So the Kalamas are very happy when they hear this. They're really relieved. And the section 17, they agree with the Buddha. They say, so it is, Blessed One. So it is, welfare. So they're very happy. They say, sadhu. No? Indeed, Bhante, this noble disciple is mine without enmity thus, his mind without ill will thus, his mind uncorrupted thus, his mind purified thus, wins these 4 self-assurances in this life itself. Then they repeat everything, all the 4, and they're very happy. So now we come to the end. They take refuge. Okay. So section 18, they say, excellent Bhante Gautama. Okay. Excellent Bhante. Just as if Bhante, one were to place upright what had been overturned, or were to reveal what was hidden, or were to show the way to one who was lost, or were to hold up a lamp in the dark, so that those with eyes can see forms. In the same way, in numerous ways, as the Dhamma have been made clear by Master Gautama, we, Bhante, go to the Blessed One for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May Master Gautama remember us as lay followers who have gone to him for refuge from this day forth for life. So the Kalamas take refuge. They take the Buddha as their teacher. The sutta ends there. So there you are. Remember, to me anyway, the most important part of the sutta actually are the 4 self-assurances. Why we should do good, okay, rather than do bad. And that's the real clincher, we say. So look up the notes in the notes section for more details, all right? Okay, so now we have finished the sutta. We're going to look at a very interesting topic, which is the comparative study of the Pali Sutta and its Chinese version. We find some very interesting difference there. Okay, so this is in 4b, 35.4b. Okay, 35.4a has got 3 parts: the introduction, the sutta itself, and then the commentary notes. Okay, and this is 4b. 4b is the Chinese version. So here you can see on the left side, the contents, right? I don't know, for those of you on the phone, using phone, be a bit small, right? So you can look up the notes later on. By the way, I think we missed out this note, so do download the notes which have just been posted on the Telegram a while ago. So do download this 4b, okay? This is 2 column, after this will be 3 column, all right? So let's look at the 3 column, well, before that, look at the title, Kesaputtiya Sutta, okay, it's the same. Then a brief comparison of A465, that is the, I think it should be 3, is it 365? Yeah, not 4, 365, yeah? Just make a correction there. A365 and MA16, all right? The Pali version is in its Chinese translation. All right, let's look at the 3 column now. So this introduction, you can read for yourself. And then you have the very interesting first time you all see these 3 columns. You see the Pali version on the left here. Then the Chinese version is not exactly the same as the Pali. And here's the translation of the Chinese version. So now look at the title here. It is number 16. The Chinese version is Madhyama Agama, okay? Chonga Hanjing. The chapter related to karma, Sutta number 6. This is in the Chinese collection. They begin with the same. They say, thus have I heard. But they give an interesting detail, which is not found in the Pali Sutta. At one time, the Buddha, notice they use the word Buddha here, was wandering in Kalama country with a large community of monks. He reached the Kesaputtiya village and stayed in the Sinsapa grove in the north, right? So they mention Sinsapa grove, Sinsapa forest, whereas Pali does not mention this. Then after that, it's the same, okay? They heard about the Buddha, is very famous, and then he has renounced the world, and it's good that he has come to visit them, and they want to go and see him, okay? So section 4, 5, 6, 7, down until 12, it's all the same. Section 12, they have something extra again. If you look at further down, there are some details, okay, which the Chinese version adds. They talk about how the audience or the people, Kalamas, came to see the Buddha. So the Pali version is not so detailed, whereas actually what the Chinese version describes also found in other suttas. And we look at section 14, all right? Upon arriving, some of the Kalamas bowed their heads to the Buddha's feet and sat down at one side. Some greeted the Buddha and sat down at one side. Some saluted the Buddha with folded palms and sat down at one side. And some looked at the Buddha from afar and silently sat down, okay? So we do have this description in other suttas also. Here, the Chinese version, I've added this in here to make it a bit interesting. And then there's a bit more. So when, again here, the Chinese is slightly just a bit differently. Section 18 to 21 describes how they sat down. Then when the Kalamas had all sat down and settled, the Buddha taught them the Dharma. The Buddha exhorted, encouraged, inspired, delighted them. He taught them Dharma in countless skillful ways. The Buddha, having taught Dharma, exhorting, encouraging, inspiring, delighting them, then remained silent. Okay, so this is the Chinese version, okay? And then the Kalamas, having been taught the Dharma by the Buddha, and so on, then they bared their robes to one's shoulders, saluted the Buddha with their palms together, and they said to the world-honored one. Okay, world-honored one is a very popular Chinese way of addressing the Buddha. So this is the question which they ask, which is not found in the Pali. Okay, so they ask, actually the Pali version is there, but it's a bit different. 25. So they address him by name. Notice, Gautama, there was a recluse or Brahmin who came to us, Kalamas. He just praised his own knowledge and views and disparaged the knowledge and views of others. Again, Gautama, another recluse or Brahmin, came to us, Kalamas, and he too praised his own knowledge and views and disparaged the knowledge and views of others. Gautama, having heard them, we had this doubt. Which of these recluses or Brahmins is true? Which of them false? Right? So this is the thesis question, all right? Now, what's interesting after this? Okay, let's go down. You'll see something missing here. You look on the left side, we have the 10 points. This is very important, all right? But the Chinese side is empty. The 10 Dharvati points are not found in the Chinese Agama version. It's also not found in the Tibetan version, by the way. So there's something very interesting. The Mahayana do not have this. At the end of this study, I'll tell you why. Okay, first, let's just keep the suspense and then see what happens next. All right. Now, what is interesting here is how the Buddha answers. How did the Buddha answer them? Remember, in the Pali Sutta, the Buddha said, okay, okay, Kalamas, don't worry, you doubt, it's natural to doubt because all these things are very doubtful. So the Buddha was very reassuring. But here, it's very different tone. Okay, look at 29. The Buddha says, 29, the world-honored one told them, Kalamas, don't have these doubts. So this is what the Buddha says, don't have these doubts. The Buddha is telling them, don't doubt. Why is that? As a result of having doubts, you will be hesitant. Kalamas, they come from your own lack of pure knowledge regarding whether there is an afterlife or no afterlife. Okay, there you are. You see that this is very different already. So we cannot always say that the Chinese version of the suttas are the same as the Pali. There are occasionally differences. We don't really know why, but I have a theory in this case, which I will tell you at the end, why there is this very significant difference. Here, the Buddha is actually telling the Kalamas, you should not be doubting, you should not be doubting, because you doubt because you're not awakened, you don't have pure knowledge, right? So it's telling them, quite almost putting them over. So look at 35. Kalamas, you also lack pure knowledge about which actions are unwholesome, which actions are wholesome, right? So you do not know about karma and rebirth. 35. Kalamas, you should know that all actions have three causes: habits, origins, becoming. What are the three? Okay, this part is similar to the Pali, although it's presented a little differently. So the Buddha says there are three things when it comes to action. Section 38. Kalamas, greed is a cause, habit, origin, becoming of actions. Kalamas, hatred and delusion are causes, habits, origins, becoming of actions. So these three roots, three unwholesome roots, are similar to the Pali on the left side, you see, okay? In terms of teaching, they are the same, but the wording is slightly different. Kalamas, section 40. Kalamas, one greedy is overwhelmed by greed, his heart never satisfied. Such a one may kill living beings, or take the not given, or engage in sexual misconduct, or knowingly speak falsehood, or take intoxicants. Okay, this also we are familiar. So here the Buddha, here the Kalamas, the Buddha is telling the Kalamas that people break the precepts out of the first root of unwholesomeness, first unwholesome root, that is greed. Now this is all familiar teaching, right? Then section 43, 44, 45, the Buddha goes on to highlight hate, the second unwholesome root. Kalamas, one hateful is overwhelmed by hatred. His heart is never satisfied. Such a one may kill living beings, or take the not given, or engage in sexual misconduct, or knowingly speak falsehood, or take intoxicants. You notice the words here are italicized, meaning they are repeat. It's a reprise, repeat of the previous section. So one breaks the precept because one has hatred, right? Now, next, a bit lower now, you have the third root, section 46. Kalamas, one deluded is overwhelmed by delusion. His heart is never satisfied. Such a one may break any of the five precepts or all of them. So this more or less agrees with the Pali version, only the wording slightly different, all right? So there is a parallel there. Now, the Buddha repeats the 10 points, but the Chinese section doesn't have it. So we just go down. You can see on the right side, there's nothing there, okay? The 10 points are here, and here the Chinese section doesn't have anything. So we'll go down, quite far down, because all these 10 points are not mentioned. All right, we come to section 49. But this is similar, this part is quite similar to the Pali. However, the Pali side says wholesome karma, but here unwholesome. Okay, there's a typo then. The 10 unwholesome causes of karma, section 49. Kalamas, a learned noble disciple who has heard much. This word learned, Bahu Sutta, someone who has heard much, abstains from killing, gives up killing, puts aside sword and staff, with moral shame, moral fear, loving kindness, compassion. He is beneficent, kind to all beings, even insects. He purifies his mind regarding killing living beings. Okay, so this first one is about not killing. All right, and then the next point, you can see round brackets 1 and then 52 round brackets 2. So these are internal numbering to show you the precepts. 52, Kalama, a learned noble disciple, abstains from taking the not given, gives up taking the not given, takes only the given. He is happy to have a share in giving and loves doing charity. Rejoicing in having no stinginess, he expects no reward. He purifies his mind regarding taking the not given. So notice here the Chinese version focuses on the 10 wholesome good karma. No? This also found in the suttas, but elsewhere, not in this sutta, because in the Pali version of the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha focuses on the 10 points, but the Chinese version focuses on the 10 wholesome causes of karma. And then 56, section 56 is the third of the 10 wholesome karma. This one is a little strange. Remember, the Buddha is addressing lay people, all right? Kalama, says the Buddha, a learned noble disciple abstains from incelibacy. Incelibacy means totally, abstain from incelibacy means totally no sex at all, like the monks, celibate. Gives up incelibacy, diligently cultivates celibacy. Now, this is rather strange for the Buddha to tell lay people, because they are married, they have families and children, and they run businesses. They are not Buddhists yet, right? These are actually more like words for monks and maybe wanderers. All right, so this part is a little odd, you might say. He is diligent in his celibacy, energetic in this good conduct. He is pure, undefiled, having abandoned sensual desires. He purifies his mind regarding incelibacy. Of course, we can guess why such a passage got in here when the Buddha is talking to lay people. It could be that when they were translating this, they just kind of added the passage in, without realizing actually the context the Buddha is talking to lay people. That's one possible explanation. Okay, and then next section. Okay, the next part is on the 4 kinds of speeches, and this one is not so difficult. Look at 64. Kalama, the learned noble disciple, abstains from false speech. And then it's defined, okay, gives up false speech, speaks truthfully, he enjoys the truth, is firmly established in the truth, he is well trustworthy and does not deceive the world, he purifies his mind regarding false speech. In fact, this kind of definition is very close to the early Buddhism, to the Pali text. You don't see very much of this kind of talk in later Mahayana texts. It would be very high-flown and so on. But here, this is typical of early Buddhist texts, even in Chinese translation. So this is about false speech. 64, this is the 5th wholesome cause of karma. Kalama is a learned noble disciple, abstains from slander, gives up slandering. He does not engage in slander. He does not divide others. Hearing something here, he does not tell it there with a desire to divide them from those here. He does not hear something there and tell it here with a desire to divide them from those there. He wishes to unite the divided, rejoicing in unity. He does not take sides. He does not enjoy taking sides or partisanship. He purifies his mind regarding slander. This is also quite straightforward. But remember, this is not found in the Pali version. This is the Chinese version. And then next one, section 71 is about harsh speech. Kalama, so the noble disciple, abstains from harsh speech, gives up harsh speech. When he speaks, he avoids using words rough and rude, offensive words that hurt the ear, that people neither enjoy nor desire, that causes suffering and vexation in others. That is not conducive to mental concentration. He avoids such speech. Here again, very typical of the early Buddhist texts. This is on harsh speech. But there is more. Here, interestingly, the Chinese version extend a bit more on this harsh speech. 75. When he speaks, his words are clear, peaceful, gentle, beneficial, pleasant to the ear, touches the heart, enjoyable and desirable, evoking peace and joy in others. Words that clarify, that do not evoke fear in others, that is conducive to mental concentration. He purifies his mind regarding harsh speech. In fact, in other words, this is pleasant speech. So these are extended a bit, all right? So here again, you notice the Chinese seem to have some difficulty because here you got the double paragraph, a lot of it, but the previous one are very short. So again, it's not as balanced as what you see in the Pali version. But the texts are all there, all right? So now 79, we see the karmic cause number 7, frivolous chatter. Kalama, a learned noble disciple abstains from frivolous chatter, useless talk that is, gives up frivolous chatter, he speaks at the right time, speaks truthfully, speaks the Dhamma meaningful and calming. He delights in words that calm. He teaches well, admonishes well at the right time, in the right way. He purifies his mind regarding idle chatter. All right. Okay, so that finishes the 4 right speeches. Now we come to the last 3 on the mind. Okay. 83. Kalamas, a learned noble disciple, abstains from covetousness. Wanting what other people have, covetousness, gives up covetousness. His heart is conflict-free. Seeing others' wealth or lifestyle, he covets it not, wishing, if only I can have that. He purifies his mind regarding covetousness. It is all quite clear, straightforward. 87, it's the second last, number 9 of the 10 wholesome causes of karma. Kalamas, a learned noble disciple, is free from ill will. He gives up ill will with moral shame and moral fear, loving kindness and compassion. He is beneficent to all living beings, even insects. He purifies his mind regarding ill will. And then last one, 90, is the 10th wholesome cause of karma. Kalama, so learned noble disciple, is free from wrong view, right? Free from wrong view, in other words, he has right view, gives up wrong view, he conducts himself in right view, hence he's not confused. Thus viewing, thus speaking, he says, there is giving, there is observance of precepts. Okay, here we have a problem. We're not sure how this line came in. There is mantra recitation. Okay, you can see note 14 there, right? Dharani mantra. There's no Pali version of this, no Pali cognate. The Pali version says there is what is given, what is offered, what is sacrificed. So here somehow this mantra statement managed to get smuggled in. So we can guess this a time probably there was already some Mahayana influence. There is mantra recitation, there are deeds, wholesome and unwholesome, and their fruits. There in this world, there is this world, there is the other world. right? So this is all similar to the Pali. There is father, there is mother. There are true individuals. True individuals means good people, including the saints. There are true individuals in the world who are heading for true attainment, who are well gone and well directed, who in this world and the other world have gained self-knowledge. He purifies his mind regarding wrong views. Okay, so there are the 10 wholesome karma and there. And then apparently in the next section, the Chinese version add in something like the 5 mental hindrances. Notice on the right-hand side, the Pali side, there's nothing there. So this is only in the Chinese section, section 100. By the way, this numbering you won't see in other texts. This is the SD numbering for convenience for our reading. 100. Thus, Kalamas, a learned noble disciple attains purity of bodily conduct, attains purity of verbal and mental conduct. Okay, these are the three bases of, three doors of karma, body, speech, and mind. He gives up ill will and strife. Okay, this is similar to the talking about the first mental hindrance. Discards sloth and torpor. All right, this is one of the hindrances. And then he is without restlessness and conceit. The Pali version is restlessness and worry, but here you have restlessness and conceit. He cuts off doubt. Okay, this is the last of the 5 hindrances. And then the Chinese version adds one more. He rises above arrogance. Okay? Because conceit, arrogance are very close. Arrogance is a stronger form of conceit. He has right mindfulness and right concentration and has no delusion. So there's a bit extra information when it comes to the Chinese version. Okay, then we come to, again, there's a section missing here, the second mention of the 10 points, remember? Again, it's empty, big emptiness. There we go down until the 4 divine abodes. Okay, go down, further down. Yeah, there you are. Can you see the 104? This is the 4 divine abodes, but this one is similar to the Pali. Right, so this is parallel again. So you see, very interesting here. Some parts are there, some parts are not there. Okay, so the 4 divine abodes are there. Slightly, the wording is slightly different, okay? But the general idea is the same. 104. He dwells pervading 1/4 with a heart of loving kindness. Likewise, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th quarters, above and below, all around and everywhere. Okay? With a heart filled with loving kindness, free from fetters and resentment, without ill will, without conflict or without quarrel. He dwells boundless, exalted, immeasurable, well cultivated, pervading the whole world. But it's not mentioned, understood, with loving kindness. Then something interesting happens. In the Chinese version, they have this Piya. They shrink everything. They did not put in the full text. They shorten it, all right? 109. So it is with a heart of compassion and then etc., joy, etc., and equanimity. Whereas in the Pali version, everything is laid out in full. So that's another difference. You can see Chinese in the Pali version, whole page on the left, whereas in the Chinese version, they're all shortened. Everything is shortened, and I have put in the repetition for you just to show you that's actually similar, but it has been shortened. Okay. All right. So far we can compare this up to this point, and we'll take a short break. Then we'll talk about the 4 self-reliances, which is very interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Piya. We'll take a 5 minutes break now. Okay. We will continue.
All right. Oh, you can hear me well, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. That's okay. That's good. Now, in section 100, there's a correction, the last line. Instead of right concentration, please read right knowledge. Okay, it's just a correction there.
103. 103.
So yeah, at the bottom, 103 rather. Yeah, 103. Okay. Yeah. Instead of right concentration, read as right knowledge. Anyway, we will be issuing the updated version later on, next week or later. Okay, let's continue. Now we come near the conclusion, nearing the conclusion already. The 4 self-assurances, 112. Yeah, correct. So now again, the Chinese version joined more or less close parallel to the Pali. Okay, the Chinese version also talks about the 4 self-assurances, but they call it differently. They call it the 4 safe abodes. 4 safe abodes. You can see the footnote 18 at the bottom for the Chinese words and the pinyin. Asasa, safe bets. 112. Thus, Kalama, says the Buddha, in the Chinese version, the heart of a learned noble disciple, without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will, readily gains the 4 safe abodes. Okay, it's very similar to the Pali. What are the 4? If there is the present world and another world, and there are fruits of good and bad actions, then I have this right view regarding karma, fully keeping to it. When my body breaks up with life's end, I will surely go to a good state, even arise in a heaven. Okay, so this is practically same as the Pali version. Okay, thus Kalama's, the heart of a learned noble disciple, is without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will. Okay, so this what's called a refrain. It just keeps repeating itself. And then there is another refrain. This is the meaning of gaining the first safe abode. Now we have the second safe abode. Again, Kalamas. If there's neither this world nor another world, there are no fruits of good and bad actions, then in this Dharma, I'm not censured by others for this view, but praised for having right knowledge as one who is diligent, who has right view. Thus, Kalama, the heart of a learned noble disciple, is without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will. This is the meaning of the second safe abode. Right, so this one is slightly different, but not too much different. Okay, let's look at the third one. Again, Kalamas, he thinks, whatever I've done, I've certainly done no evil and taught no evil. Why is that? Since I've done no evil, from where will suffering arise for me? So this is very similar, okay? Parallel. Thus, Kalamas, the heart of the learned noble disciple, is without fetters and so on. Okay, so it's very similar to the Pali. Okay, then we come to the fourth self-assurance, fourth and last one, 130. Again, Kalamas. Whatever I may have done, I've certainly done no evil. I've not violated the laws of the world, either out of fear or from lack of fear. Okay, this is unique to the Chinese version. I always have loving kindness and compassion for the whole world. My mind is free of conflict with beings, untainted, joyful. All right, so this is the Chinese version. All right, thus Kalamas, the heart of a learned noble disciple, is without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will. This is the meaning of the fourth safe abode. Thus, Kalamas, the heart of a learned noble disciple, is without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will. This is the meaning of gaining the 4 safe abodes. So this kind of more or less very close parallel. And now we come to the conclusion. All right. So the Kalamas said to the world honored one. Okay, so here's a Chinese version. You can see they call the Buddha world honored one. Thus, Gautama, the heart of a learned noble disciple, without fetters, without enmity, without anger, without ill will, readily gains the four safe abodes. So see here, the Kalamas repeat what the Buddha said. They're very happy, and then they repeat everything. All the four safe abodes are repeated like in the Pali version. Okay, so here again we have a parallel up to down to 164. Okay, 165 in fact, or rather 166. No? So everything is kind of repeat. Now we come to a surprise, something new. Okay, this again, you notice it's not in the Pali. 168. This is only found in the Chinese version. This is what the Kalamas say. 168, the Kalamas tell the Buddha, Gautama, we have realized it. Sugata, well gone. We have understood it. Well honored one. Okay. Now, so this statement, you notice there's a note there 22. It says that this is not. We should take it as a plural. Yeah? And then there's something else, note 23. Is that this statement is remarkable, suggests that these individuals have attained stream winning. Okay, so they listen, and then according to the Chinese version, they probably have attained stream winning. But this is not mentioned in the Pali version. Okay, and anyway, the ending, the very ending is the same. They take refuge. The refuge formula is shorter in the Chinese version compared to the Pali version. You can see the Chinese version is shorter, but very similar in spirit anyway. 170, they tell the Buddha, we all go for refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha of monks. May the world honored one accept us as lay followers starting today. We go to the three okay, we go and then we go for refuge until life's end. That's all in the Chinese version. So it's understood we go to the three jewels in brackets. Then the Buddha says, all the Buddha spoke thus. So this 173 is simply a tagline to authenticate the sutta. The Buddha spoke thus. Actually, it's not the Buddha didn't say this. The preceding words were spoken by the Kalamas. So 173 is just a line put in the Chinese version to show that the Buddha spoke this sutta, to authenticate this sutta, all right? And then narrator closes by saying in 174, all the Kalamas and the monks, so there were monks with the Buddha, who heard the Buddha taught, rejoice and practice accordingly. The Kalama Sutta number 6 is concluded. Now there's a bit of extra information. If you look at the Chinese side, some numbers at the bottom, and those numbers in modern language will read 1,987 Chinese characters. So this one is according to the Taisho version. You have 1987 characters. Okay, so the sutta ends there. So there you are. We have a very interesting comparison to show the differences between the Pali and the Chinese version in this Kalama Sutta. Quite interesting, quite dramatic differences. And the parallels are there. So the question now is why this significant difference? Because this is quite different from many other suttas where the difference is not so glaring, so big. You know? Now, one possible explanation is that the Chinese text, see, we got to ask ourselves, where did the Chinese get their text from? Very often, some visiting monks from Central Asia, which is nearer to China, or maybe from India, even from Persia, by the way. You know, because those days Persia is a very powerful empire. They will go to China and they bring along some Indic texts, I-N-D-I-C, Indic texts. But these are not Pali texts, okay? it is likely, it is possible that this Chinese version, which is a Zhonghanjing, comes from the Sarvastivada tradition. The Sarvastivada is another early school, okay, similar to like Theravada, but they're not that early. They came after early Buddhism. So this is one interesting idea. It came from the Sarvastivada tradition, which is probably Sanskrit, not Pali. Another possible explanation is that by the time the suttas were translated, Mahayana becoming very strong. And as you know, in Mahayana, they are teacher-based. You see, to them, the teacher is very important. But the Kalama Sutta says you can doubt the teacher. You see? So wow, they find it difficult to accept. So that's possible, possibly the reason why they decided not to add those sections. So that's one second possible explanation. Okay, all these we say tentative, possible. We don't really know why, but the fact remains there are big sections missing in the Chinese version. Okay, but there are also very close parallels. So here, there you are, to show you an example of the difficulties of Chinese translation. Now, we must understand that it's not easy, you know, for the Chinese to translate the Indian text. That itself is a remarkable feat, one of the great achievements of Chinese civilization. Number one, to be willing to accept a foreign culture, all their texts, right? But they saw in in Buddhism a really rich culture, and they're very curious. They want to learn, and many words which they do not know, do not understand, they do not have. And it took them centuries, you know, for them to adopt and adapt all these Chinese Buddhist terms. And that contributed to a very important vocabulary, built up the Chinese vocabulary by the hundreds of thousands of new words. And that was a very important contribution to Chinese culture. So you have lots of this give and take situation in China. But basically, when Buddhism went to China, the Chinese being a very proud race, they want things to be Chinese. Later on, Buddhism became Chinese. And as you know, I've written a few volumes on this called How Buddhism Became Chinese, to show the various stages, various difficulties that Buddhism faced when it went to China, and it became very Chinese, very different from the Buddhism of India. And you have all this Amitabha Buddha coming in, and all this belief. The Chinese never gave up the belief in the soul, by the way. They believe in the soul right to the end, right to today. They still believe in the soul. So unless they are learned monks, they will talk about non-self in a sense of emptiness. But then again, it's a very philosophical idea. You find in the end, there is still this idea of the soul there. So these are some difficulties we have to deal with when you study Chinese Buddhism. Okay, I will end there for the moment and then receive questions from you.
Okay, thank you, Brother Piya, for explaining the sutta. It's time for Q&A. Please feel free to ask questions by tapping the chat box, or you can ask question live. And do remember to turn on your camera. I will pass the session to Sister Aixin. Sister Aixin.
Thank you, Sister Wendy. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the sutta explanation. Dear brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask the question. And Brother Piya, at the moment, there is no questions in the chat box. Yes.
Sure. So meantime, let me just announce, okay, so SKE have assured us that they will maintain the website, I mean the platform, telegrams to be there. We will be posting the future sutta classes. And also, if you're not sure, you go on, please check the Minding Center Telegram. We will be announcing, as I said, the dates will be more or less the same. It will be always the second, the 2 Fridays of every month, except this month, this is the only class, so we'll start in January. I think the first Friday of January, right?
Yes, first Friday. Alternate Fridays.
Alternate Fridays, yeah.
So some months you may have 3 classes.
Okay, so the start class will continue. And also we have to thank the SKE for, initiating us into this Zoom. And now we continue on our own. Anytime when they're ready, we will join together again and have a joint session as before, because teaching of Dhamma is an open forum. Okay, so here I'm the one always talking on suttas all the time. Anyone is welcome to join us. Okay, anyone?
Brother Tan Kim Si raised his hand.
Okay, sure. Yes.
Okay, Brother Piya Tan, Sister
Yes.
Ratna, and brothers and sisters Dharma. Today is the last lesson for our 2-year series, Sutta series, 2 years running. And I would like to quote about the Dhammapada verse 182, right? Hard to gain is birth as man. Hard is the life of mortal. Hard to gain is the opportunity of hearing the Arya Dhamma. And hard is for a Buddha to appear. So we are very fortunate and thankful to Brother Piya Tan for giving us this opportunity to listen to the Dhamma. And this Dhamma is, of course, the first original, the early Dhamma, which is very closely related to the Arya Dhamma, which is what we should be spending our time. Okay, and on behalf of SKEGSS4-25, I would like to say thank you very much. And again, I would like to reflect back on when Buddha gained enlightenment. For 1 week, he was contemplating for his happiness. The second week, he was spending 7 days being grateful to the Bodhi tree for being able to give him the protection until he gained enlightenment. And here again, out of gratitude and appreciation, I would like to thank you once again to Brother Piya Tan and Sister Ratna for spending all his life and time studying and translating the suttas for the benefit of all of us here. So actually, we are very fortunate. We are very fortunate to be born as a human being. We are very fortunate to have the opportunity to listen to the Dhamma, all because of the good work of Brother Piya Tan and Sister Ratna. Now, way back in October, Brother Piya has raised this issue about the Sutta studies, and I have posted this to my committee members, and they requested to have a short break, which I relate back to Brother Piya as soon as possible. So we were prepared. Right? And I'm also very thankful for all those of you who have participated, especially to the technical support team, Sister Wendy Cha, and the group of them, Sister Exim, right, Sister May, Sister Jardine, and all that, who managed to keep this program going. And of course, as what is always the case, if we have good masters, good teachers, without the devotees, without the participant, right, we also would not have achieved much success. So always give ourselves, right, that credit, right, to be able to be together. So once again, I'm very pleased to be able to link up with Brother Piya and Sister Ratna. And also I would like to mention Brother Hao Sun and Sister Linda Lim from Sydney. I managed to hook them up to this program, as well as also Brother Rango. I don't know whether he's today or not. He's here from Hong Kong, right? So I managed to meet these people before, and I really appreciate our friendship together. So I would not like to take much of your time, but from the bottom of my heart, I would like to say thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, especially to the Mining Center, for SKEGSS4-25 to be able to collaborate with the center and to bring to you all this program. And of course, on behalf of SKEGSS, I'm very sorry that we would like to take a break. And I understand my committee members, right? And hopefully that we will meet again, maybe one day, right? So with that, thank you very much. And once again, I ask for forgiveness if there's any shortcoming on our part, right? So once again, thank you very much, and see you all in another platform, or maybe next year, right? So wish you all the best for the year 2022. So thank you very much.
Yes,
Sadhu,
thank you,
sadhu,
Brother
sadhu.
Kimsey. Sadhu, sadhu. Yeah. Well, I've known Kimsey, I don't know how many years, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, since 1970s, 76.
Yeah, 70s when I was in
70s,
Malacca.
yeah.
We all are from Malacca. So we're still doing the same work together. And of course, now the world has changed. So many groups, so many speakers, so many experts, so many texts, so many translations. So we have a lot of choices, okay? So this is a time when you are free to choose. There are lots of interesting books and methods. So there's no excuse not to study the suttas, okay? It's we are spoiled for choice now. Okay, any questions yet?
Yes, Brother Piya, there's a question from Brother LCO.
Sure.
How does the monkey god travel to the West fit into Buddhism?
Okay, the monkey god is a classic. It's a Chinese story. He's not human. He's not real like a human, but it is what's called an epic story. It's a very huge Chinese epic like Homer's Iliad, you know, Odyssey and so on. The author is Wu Cheng'en. I forget which dynasty. Is it Ming Dynasty? Anyone remember? Anyway, written a few centuries ago by Wu Cheng'en. So this Wu Cheng'en, he wrote a story about the monk from the Tang Dynasty, okay? The Sanchang who went to India. So this make a big impact on China, you know, because the emperor is, you see this when Sanchang went to left China, he actually stole out of China and no one was allowed to leave. So he quietly went, he risked his life, you know. So when he came back, he was so afraid that he might get arrested and executed. But the emperor was actually curious that here's a monk has gone all the way to India. We're talking about ancient China, Tang Dynasty. So the emperor is very curious to know about what lies over there. So he welcomed this monk, Xianchang, and he asked the monk to write every time I interview him, asked him to tell stories, and this monk got very tired and he decided to write his whole travel into a book and present it to the emperor so that the emperor won't disturb him anymore. So he wrote his travels. And of course, his story also inspired lots of the imagination of the Chinese. And one of those people who are very inspired is Wu Cheng'en. So he wrote the story of monkey, right? You have, actually it's a story of Tripitaka. Tripitaka, this monk who went all the way to the West to find the scriptures, the suttas. And he has with him 3 followers, okay? So you have monkey, very mischievous. So he represents the mind, okay, that is full of delusion, or full of, depends, the 3 roots, remember? Greed, hate, delusion. So, and you have this pixie, he's in the shape of a pig, very interesting. And the pig represents greed, very, very apt. And then you have this very fierce, tough guy, Sandy. He represents something like moha, if you like, anger, if you like. So these 3 are the 3 unwholesome roots, and they follow this monk. In other words, we all have these 3 roots. So it's a story. So all this, the monkey story is full of what I call allegories, full of fables, fantastic stories, but they are meant to be understood in the context of the suttas. In other words, when you dramatize the suttas, what do you get? Something like that, right? So we don't take them as real in the human plane. They are stories, they're teachings, they're teachings in stories. So monkey goes west in that sense. Of course, there are some scholars who say, oh, you know, the Chinese borrowed the idea of monkey from the Indian Hanuman, and so on. Well, we don't know. It may or may not be, but it doesn't matter because the Chinese version of monkey is very famous by itself, right? So that's a bit about the story of monkey goes west, or the journey west. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Piya. There's no more question at the moment.
Okay. So if there are suttas that you all are keen to study, you can suggest, if I've already translated them with notes, you will study. For example, I've decided to teach Nidana Sutta, which, although difficult, but it's interesting. We will study it over 2 or 3 sessions, all right? And here again, as I said before, I have to thank Clementine, who is with us today, who has often very carefully checked the Pali for me, and that helps a lot. I'm very proud of him because, you know, we have local people working together to promote the sutta. So it shows that local Buddhists are very keen on studying the suttas. And this is something we all should know, because our 100 years of modern Buddhism, the locals have worked very hard to study the suttas. So we initiated this study locally. All right. So this will, I hope this will go on, this will build up. And in fact, what we're doing here, all these texts we're using are being used globally by other universities and people elsewhere too. Even monks and nuns are using all these texts that we are using here, the Sutta Discovery. All right. Any question yet? Not yet, huh?
Yeah. Another question from Brother LCO.
Okay.
Is it true that meditator breathe differently by inhaling into the tummy than into the lung?
I'm not sure how you can do that. The Tibetan version or the Mahayana version, they do have some so-called, they add yoga to it. So they kind of, you know, follow their breath around, up the head, down to the body and so on. So that's a yoga method, the later method. We don't have that kind of teaching in early Buddhism, because our purpose is not the actual breath practice, is rather what the breath does for our mind. That is, it helps us to be at peace so that we let go of the breath, let go of our views, and we become peaceful. So the question of how we breathe does not arise, okay? In fact, if you notice in your breath meditation, in the first 2 stages, there is physical breath, in, out, you know, so it's that is your physical body. Then as you become more focused, you don't notice the breath, because your breath has become more subtle. It has become the mind, become mental. You don't notice it. You're still breathing, you're still alive. So when you become more mental, you become less of a distraction. You're more focused on it that way. So that is the breath meditation, okay? All right, any other?
Yes, the next question from Brother Tan Kim Si.
Okay.
Brother Piya, maybe you can clarify on the term learned noble disciple stated in the text.
Okay, yeah, you got the word noble disciple, learners. Noble disciple is Arya Sawaka, okay? When you see the word Arya, it's noble. Noble is used by the Buddha, meaning the path, meaning they have started walking on the path. In other words, stream winners, once returners, non-returners, arahats. Those who are on the way to awakening, they're called Aryas or noble. Okay, and the Eightfold Path is called the noble path, or the path for the nobles. The word Savaka comes from the root word to hear, through, okay, to hear, Sravaka in Sanskrit, Savaka. So as lay people, we should not use the word Savaka for ourselves unless we're already at least a stream winner. We have, sometimes in the West, we have people who are very they're full of faith and inspired. As Buddhists, they call themselves Sawaka. So if you're cast of Sawaka, you're claiming you already attain at least stream winning, So we won't use, as lay people, we don't use the word Shravaka, we use the word Upasaka, okay? So in the West, many words get mixed up. Even the word Sangha is being used by organizations because they have, in sociology, we say rationalize, okay? They have rationalized the word Sangha to mean community, because the Christians use the word church, community, so that they want that kind of word. So I can understand the power of that kind of word. So in a way, they are very wise in using such a term, which gives them a sense of togetherness and so on. But it's also good to remember the original meaning of Sangha, which refers to the, those renunciants, right? That's historically, that's how it started. So Sawaka refers to the disciples of the Buddha who are Aryas. When we take refuge, in the Sangha of those Sravakas, both the Sravakas are both monastics as well as lay people. Those who have attained stream winning and so on. There are lay people who have attained it, and there are also monks who have attained it. Right, so that is Sravaka. And noble means the path. They are on the path to awakening, or they're already awakened in the case of the Arahats. So I hope that is clear enough. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Piya. The next question from Brother J.H. Ko.
Okay.
There are few ways of translating the Pali Suttas, similarly mentioned in China's experience of translating the sutras. Literary essence simplified, shortened for those repetitive. What are the pros and cons? Which methods Brother Piya uses and why? Thank you.
All right. Yes, translation is not easy because how do you change words from one language into another? Because the moment you translate is something new, something different. So that's one of the problems. So some people have said it's better to study Pali, for example, but it's not easy for everyone to study Pali. Another way is to understand the suttas and practice at the same time, and then keep on looking back at the meaning, okay? Let me answer translation first. Yes, there are different ways of translating. You have what's called the literal translation. Now, if you look at Bhikkhu Bodhi's book, reading the Buddha's text in Pali, you find that he gives a literal translation first, and after that he gives the modern translation, and he gives all the grammatical explanation of the words, which can be very helpful, not for beginners, for those who know some Pali, okay? So I find the book very useful for me anyway. So in the Sutta Discovery, we try to present the Sutta in full, without shortcuts, without what I call abridgments, without cutting off any part. We give Sutta complete. You see, the thing about Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, which we call commercial translation because they're published commercially and being sold, they have restraints of paging. They have to put into one nice volume, they have to look very nice and so on. So there are certain constraints that the publisher, put on the translator. So it's not easy. He has to cut short the repetitive parts. But there's a big problem. Once you cut off this repetitive part, you say, etc. Nobody knows, except maybe the translator or the expert. Nobody knows what the etc. reads. You're just lost, so it's not useful at all. In fact, I really discourage, a lot of scholars discourage this. So in the Sutta Discovery, we give everything in full. That is why the Sutta Discovery comes to so many volumes. We have more than 80 volumes now. And next year will be the 20th year. Is volume number 60, but actually the total number is more than 80. But there are double volume, triple volume, quadruple volume even. One number may have up to 3, 4. So we give everything in full, including repetitions, but there is a style we follow. We follow what's called a graphic idea. So we arrange the paragraphing in a very artistic way, in the flow of the way the eye will read. And then we use some conventions. For example, if it is repeated, we highlight it by using italics, all right? And then we have small numbers, 9 points to tell you where you can refer back to when it first appeared and so on, things like that. So you have everything there, and you can skip those repeated passages if you don't want. If you find a bit too boring, you can skip them, but they're all there. So you have a good idea what is going on. There is no cutting short, big sections being removed, you see. So, but it's very tedious, a lot of work for this kind of translation. That's why it takes me, for the last 20 years, I've been doing this. And believe me, if I were to live for another up to 100 years, another 20 years, it will still not finish. I probably finish half my work, and maybe hopefully next life can continue it, you know. So, but that's not my aim. I don't need to finish all these things, because the work that is done now is enough to show as an example how it should be done, how you can maintain the standard, the quality of translation, right? I call it the full translation, complete translation. Of course, then you can have short translation if you like, for easy reading, okay? Although I don't know how useful it can be. If someone reads it and then goes on to read the full translation, that's fine, right? So you have the abridged translation. Then you have other monks who want to make the style modern. So to translate into modern English, right? Ajahn Sujato is one of them. And again, it's very nice to read very beautiful English, you know. But how close it is to the Pali is another big problem. So sometimes the English is very nice, but is that what the sutta means? So we don't get what the sutta means. We are reading something in English. We're not reading what the Buddha is telling us. So there are problems like that, you see. But this is good to start somewhere. People start somewhere, and then from there, you cannot stop. You must move on. Sooner or later, you have to come back to the full text. So our approach is the full text approach, okay? And we add commentary, also the commentaries. And there are two forms of commentary in the Sutta Discovery. You have the traditional commentary, the old commentary, and we have the modern commentary. So there are two parts. So you have what the word means in the ancient text, and then how we apply it to today, to our practice today. So in that sense, we have a fuller approach in the Sutta Discovery method. Okay. So that's a bit about the Sutta Discovery. Any more questions? You can please ask. Yeah?
So Piya, can I ask, is there a count on the number of suttas available since the passing of the Buddha? For curiosity's sake, is it 84,000 numbers like the Mahayana claim?
84,000 is symbolic, you know. I mean, we don't really know. Even the Pali is mentioned 84,000. 8 is Eightfold Path, 4 is Four Noble Truths. The 3 zeros are the 3 periods of time, past, present, future. So in the early suttas, you find the numbers are very symbolic. Although it is said that the Buddha traveled with 500 monks, we're not really sure exactly 500, but it means quite a lot. Sometimes 1,250, and some scholars have tried to count how do you get the 1,250 monks, you know, during the Magha Puja gathering. And that's one of the rare occasions when the number is kind of much more exact. Sometimes the Sutta will just say a big gathering of monks, okay? But you must imagine, even if the Buddha were to travel around with 500 monks, it's quite a scene, you know, to see a monk walking with 500 monks. So, and the roads are very small those days. So we've got to imagine all these things. And the ancient texts tend to, what should I say, bloat up the numbers a bit. This is called literary license, okay? It's allowed, it's a common tradition in those days. So we have to understand all these things. It's not like the way we write today. Our style is different, okay? So I don't know the exact numbers. It again depends on the system of counting suttas. Even the Anguttara Nikaya, for example, you can count up to 7,000 suttas, or you can count only 4,000 suttas, because some of them, they take one word and then the sutta is repeated in a cycle. All right, so there are lots of cycles of sutta. So these are translations, technicality, which you need not bother about, because these are just numbers, how you count suttas. Important thing is what the suttas teach us. That's what we should be reading and practicing. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Piya.
Yes. Any other?
No question, no new question
Okay.
in the chat box.
You have 10 minutes more, right? It's your last chance to ask.
Yes.
Well, not exactly last chance. We have a new platform after this. No? So if you don't see anything on the SKE platform, do go to our Mining Center Telegram, and our advertisement will be there. Yeah. So do keep in touch after this. No? Of course, we're still not sure. You can always message us on Facebook. So if you have a sutta in mind, you want to study, just let us know. We'll look into it.
Okay, Brother Piya, this question from Brother Jayesh Call.
Okay.
Reading the Nikayas is not easy, as the topics scattered all over. So how and what do you recommend one approach reading the SD?
Okay. Start anywhere that interests you. Okay. Don't have a grand scheme. I'm going to start from volume 1, Sutta 1, and then you find after you read Sutta 2 as the end already. So you start anywhere, something that interests you. That's very important, something that interests you, because this 80 volumes is not easy to read. It took me, 20 years to put them together and then to revise very often. That's why we call it Living with the Buddha. So start somewhere, something that interests you, maybe Kalama Sutta, you find, and then when you read Kalama Sutta, there are footnotes. You see there are notes at the bottom that tell you, go here, read there, and then you have to learn to look up what are called the cross references, okay? Remember, if you have any difficulty, we have the internet nowadays. You can just message me, message Ratna, we will help you. And we will send you the latest suttas if you need them, okay? Yeah, so start wherever you like, read the sutta and look at the footnote. First, read through the sutta by itself, all right? Start with the sutta, read through the sutta by itself. Then after that, you'll be curious to say, what does this mean? Then you look at the cross references, they will refer usually to the introductory notes. They give you details in the introduction. That's one way. And then sometimes they tell you, look up in another sutta, another volume, more details. Okay, so that's another way. And then you come back to read this, to finish off what you're reading. And then sometimes you might like to store these files nicely somewhere, and then you can stop somewhere, and then you go elsewhere to read something interesting, and then slowly you find everything will fit in. So don't worry about finishing anything. You just read it. The whole of the Tripitaka is one sutta, I'm now speaking. So you go where your heart takes you, study that. That's what I've been doing anyway for my whole life. And it kept me going up to today. All right. Now, another thing you can do is you can become a Dharma steward. You can sign up. You can find out from Ratna how to be a Dharma steward, support our work, and we'll give you the whole Tipitaka. I'm sorry, the whole collection we have. Somebody has been kind enough to, manage. We have put everything, all the files we have into one folder, and we can send it to you as a Dharma steward. That means you're a Dharma protector. See? You have a choice. You can have that, or you can have a little thumb drive. Everything's there, or you can have both if you want. We can send it to you as a Dharma steward. So just message Ratna on the Telegram. See, I want to be a Dhamma steward. See how it is done. You're helping us. You're supporting us, and at the same time protecting the suttas also. Remember, if something happens to me, suddenly all these things will be gone, just like that, you know. So websites are known to disappear just like that. So it is in your hands. You have to preserve all these suttas so that they go on for the future generations to use. All right, there are people who are doing that. So I hope the more people do that, the better, to protect the translations. All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Brother Piya. The next question from Brother LCO. Is it possible for us to be aware of our previous life by meditation or by dream?
It's more likely through meditation, okay? Because when you do your meditation, even then you need to focus properly. But remember, it's not a simple thing, you know. I'm not sure you really want to know your past life. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say you meditate and then you say, okay, your mind becomes more focused, then you can remember what you did yesterday, right? Now you can even remember what we did last week. So it's like how to remember last life. And then we slowly go back, we say, okay, this is what I did last year, many years ago. So your memory becomes very clear because of your meditation. And then you go back as a child, you go back, you remember as a baby. So you're looking at the baby, you know, and in your mind also, in a sense, you can sense those things. Now comes that very frightening part. You go back to the time before you're born. In other words, in the previous life, you're going to see how you died. Now, the question is, are you ready for that? Are you strong enough for that? You see, you need a lot of training for that sort of thing. You need to have some level of attainment understanding before you actually see your rebirth. So it's not something simple as that. So the so-called rebirth therapy, we're not sure how they work actually. Right? So start simple, start where we are right here. Okay, so it's possible, yes, but it's a lot of hard work, okay, to get the right thing done, that is. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Piya. There's no new question in the chat box at the moment.
Anyone has any feedback on improving this sutta study? Anyone like to share anything? Put up your hand if you want to say something. We still have a couple of minutes if you have questions.
Maya raised his hand. Maya, you
Yes,
can
Maya,
ask your question now.
Actually, I just want to thank you all, Brother Piya, Sister Ratna, Sister Pendichia, the sir from everybody else. So it's been really helpful, and it's always very helpful, very useful to attend the sessions or reading the suttas, going through reading. And yes, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm very happy. You know, in our sutta work, we make friends all over the world. Yeah? It's very wonderful to know. Even in our gathering here, you find people from different parts of the world. This is really an international forum. It's amazing what technology can do for us today. Yeah? Okay, a couple more minutes.
Okay, there's another question from Brother Jayesh Kaur.
Okay.
Brother Piya, do you have a scheme of learning? Example for outsider, beginners, intermediate, and advanced learners?
Not this time, no. I planned that when I was in SKE in the 70s, okay. They may have those syllabus still, so you contact SKE through their forum and get information from them. I'm sure they have notes for you. You know, I'm sure they still use all those notes, and now they have more suttas. And they are still using the syllabus based on the syllabus I started there. It's called the integrated syllabus. By the way, the integrated syllabus was used as the foundation for the secondary school Buddhist knowledge in Singapore in the 80s, you know. because Cambridge syndicate, examination syndicate, didn't want to use the Sinhalese text because the Sinhalese text is, they say you cannot use that for exams, all those Narada Thera's books and so on. Then the Singapore Buddhist organization, they got me to help using our integrated syllabus from Malacca. So it's a very famous syllabus, okay? And we're still using it now. All right, so that's about history. No?
Thank you, Brother Piya. I think that's the last question.
Okay.
It's already 10. Over to you, Sister Wendy.
Thank you so much, Sister Isim, and thank you everyone for your question. So we shall end our session for today.
Okay.
Before we go off, can you please turn on your videos to take a photograph session?
Yeah, okay. This is a historic
Okay.
last session together with SKE, yes. Oh, we have 37, very good number, nah? 37 awakening factors. Okay. Okay, who's taking the photo, taking pictures? Ratna, is it?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Smart.
Okay, yes.
Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, some more photos, some more people coming. Okay, ready? Smart. Okay, thanks. Thank you, everyone.
All right, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay, we let us close now, nah? All right, so now we mark this very grand end of 2 years of getting together to study the suttas. Many of you have made so much sacrifice. You practice renunciation, spend time together in the Dhamma. By all these good deeds we have done, may we be at peace with ourselves and grow in wisdom and be able to bring Dhamma to others too. May whatever difficulties we face be easily overcome and to teach the Dhamma, to spread the Dhamma. May the SKE continue to grow in the Buddha Dhamma, to spread the Buddha's teachings throughout the country and even beyond. May all of you who have helped in this sutta study to be well and happy. Be blessed with all the blessings of the Dhamma that you well deserve. Recalling all these good deeds we have done today, getting here together to study the suttas, keep the precepts, practice meditation, and so on. Tell yourself, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be at peace with myself. May I be able to reach the path in this life itself, whatever good wishes you have for yourself, for your loved ones. This is the time, this is a very good time to do that. And now, with gratitude to the three jewels who brought us together here and who have given us this wisdom, let us salute them. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Bow down. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Bow down. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Bow down. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you to Brother Piya and Sister Ratna and to all the participants. Take care, stay healthy and well, and I hope to see you in the near future.
Stay safe, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you for all the
everybody.
support.
Thank you, SKE.
Thank you.